Alright, so today we've got another community video. I want to do this one, a broader one that includes the whole Ubisoft Star Wars thing and Griffin, and my wish list before this next update goes down. The next update coming to For Honor will be on the 28th of this month, and with it, we'll be receiving the new event and the next title update. However, we currently have no idea what's going to be included in that update. I can't even begin to guess, honestly, as with everything that's been going down and holiday, Ubi's been pretty quiet when it comes to For Honor, with the only info we've really gotten so far this year coming from the roadmap. Cosmetic content has been dropping and the Dominion series has been going on, so there's that. Even though there's not much going on in terms of, new stuff coming to For Honor, I've been playing more For Honor than ever for some reason, and if you're interested in what I'm up to, I'll leave my Twitch link down below, as if I'm playing, I'm streaming, and I'm really active over there. Anyways, let's not waste any more time and get right into it. Okay, starting things off, Storm Knight says, "Hey Mr. Inf, thanks for ignoring me 8,000 times. Do you even care about existing progress when you ask for a sequel? I've got zero time to regrind everything I did in this game, so if a sequel comes out with no promise of carried out transition, then good bloody luck, I'm out. And I'm going to be sad for permanently wasting my time on a live service game for it to end." Storm Knight, don't think I'm purposefully ignoring you. There are generally a lot of comments that come through with these community videos, as there are plenty of people that still care about the game and have ideas, concerns, questions, or whatever else. As for your statement, yes, I do care about existing progress, I really do. It's one of the reasons I was so disappointed that cross progression didn't happen. I try not to talk about it too much to avoid sounding like a broken record, but by not having some way to transfer your progress between accounts during the year or years as people are switching between console families or switching to PC, you're just going to push away the people that don't want to start all over again. Not just without progression, but potentially without the 3 years of additional heroes that have come to the game. Now, my question to you is, how long do you want this game to go on for? One day, just like with, every other game, the servers will shut down and you won't be able to play anymore. Will you still feel like you wasted your time? It's going to happen eventually, so why not have something new to move on to? With maybe new heroes, new systems, maybe new modes, an updated, more stable foundation that allows them to build upon newer systems or allow them to do things that they just can't do because of limitations to the game or flat out the limitations of the older hardware on the older consoles. Why would you be regrinding everything you did if there are new things to grind for? I see where you're coming from, but a title like For Honor cannot live off of one game and maintain consistent popularity for years and years and years and years. There are very few games that can. That's not a knock against For Honor. I've laid out why I want a second game, so I won't do it again, but if you're opposed to a new title, you could just play this one until they stop supporting the servers, I guess. Honestly, if they did carry heroes over from this game to another one, I'd prefer starting over from scratch, especially if there were, new armors and new weapons or new uses for armor, unless there are, legacy rewards, of course, so that we're, all on the same foot, and that newer players don't feel overwhelmed or even a step behind. Next up, Toaster Flame says, "The gear system is something that nobody asked for in the first place." That is not true. And if you're going to add in all these gear perks, then you might as well make them more useful. Opposite of your claims, it doesn't add any increased tactical level of gameplay and instead makes me feel that the purpose of armor is strictly cosmetic. If the worry was that people with good armor would end up with an unfair advantage, then good. There's no reason a tier 1 sword should be nearly as strong as a tier 7 legendary one. The new system makes a rewarding feeling of getting a higher level and unlocking high tier legendary weapons feel pointless and, as I've said earlier, purely cosmetic. Okay, so I've seen this one thrown around a lot ever since, gear perks were introduced. Some people liked that gear stats made it feel like you were progressing as you level up. Oh, you're rep 4 or 5 now. Here is better looking gear. Well, I shouldn't say better looking. Here's some more ornate, flashier looking gear with better stats so that you can feel stronger than you did when you first started. And now you can start to craft a build for yourself. And trust me, I get it. When you're doing more damage or doing something more quickly or better for leveling up, it makes you feel like you spent your time a little better as you're not just grinding for cosmetics. The problem was that, in a fighting game where you want things to be balanced, you can't really have stats put behind a grind like we're playing an action RPG or something, especially when you've really got no way to know what you're going against until you're actually fighting them. Someone who put more time into the game shouldn't have a flat out advantage against someone that just started playing or even wants to try out a new hero, other than, the advantage of experience, and what you've learned. You could do some pretty crazy stuff with gear stats, just go look at some early gameplay. Yeah, as we've talked about before, we all wish that there was more stuff to fight for and a better feeling of progression, but gear stats are not the way to do it. Perks, while still providing a few bonuses or advantages, affect fights far less than gear stats. In fights, damage, revenge, and speed, throw distance all remain much more consistent. You know what you're up against. That's not to say that gear perks are perfect, because they're not. They need to be worked on as well, so that, all the perks are valuable in their own way, rather than just a few that always get taken. I think the different types of perks between classes should all be equal and, worth equipping in some way. Some perks are barely noticeable and pretty situational, while something like Vengeful Barrier, Bashed, and Bulk Up are, constantly working for you and only on certain heroes. Next up, C. Shran says, long version, I remember at the end of the first season this year we got executions, and it turned out to be faction or game-wide executions. There was some anger, but a lot of acceptance that this is how it is going to be for a while during the pandemic. But as time went on, the executions remained in this weird field of magic/comedy that are faction or game-wide. And I'm seeing frustration popping up again about these statue executions. Oh man, I just said executions again. Some of this frustration isn't just at the situation, but is now coming back to Yubi. Do you believe the frustration at Yubi is warranted? Okay, so at this point, you cannot look at anything For Honor related that has a comment section that has, multiple comments along the line of where are the unique finishers Yubi, or why is everything becoming universal or silly. It's almost been a year now that we've been living in this restricted world, and we've known for a while now that when it comes to For Honor, content just hasn't been the same. Unique finishers haven't happened. Warmonger and Griffin have borrowed animations or tweaked animations. There are a lot of universal emotes and signatures. For all we know, Yubi just can't make unique stuff at the moment for this game. I don't work there. Odds are none of the people watching this video work there, so we really don't know. But the assumption is that they just can't make the stuff that we had become accustomed to and what we were used to for the previous 3 or so years. Now, with that being said, the stuff that they can make and, are choosing to make have been a mixed bag. When it comes to effects and outfits and colors, I like a lot of it. The emotes, not so much. I'll admit it, I'm totally biased here, but I don't like the ultra silly things like the Just Dance emotes or the JoJo inspired signatures that just came out. I know that there are people that do, and I'm glad for them. I don't really care for it, as I prefer the more serious stuff. It doesn't have to be super serious or gritty, just a bit more grounded is all. I think that there are ways to make something like emotes and even finishers universal or faction specific, while leaning away from things that are fantasy inspired or comical, just so that, you can make both crowds happy. I think the death by finishers are perfect examples of that. We could see faction-specific unarmed finishers that show some sort of struggle or swift disposal of an enemy. Regardless of whether you like what's being released or not though, I think the real, toxic hostility toward the devs is just unnecessary. There's no need for it over a video game. Lastly, this one is from the Discord, our very first Discord one. This topic needs serious addressing. Can we take a minute to notice how insanely busted and OP the samurai? How insanely busted and OP the samurai are. Seriously, they are all absolutely ridiculously broken and overpowered. Every single one of them except for Kinsei. Kinsei is actually trash and is a horrible hero, His lights are slow and predictable, and his dodge is the worst one in the game, okay. Plus he has no mix-up potential. But aside from him, all of them are S+ tier. Shigoki is a very hard hitter and very unpredictable. His hug mix-up is the best in the game, and so it proves its 80% success rate. Orochi and his lights, speed lights, are by far the best tool in the game. Nabushi's lights are similar. Some of the hardest to parry in the game, and her kick is also very OP. Then we have Shinobi. They might as well change his name to Shin OP. He can hit and guard break you from a mile away, not to mention his Orochi-like lights, absolutely busted. Aramusha is another light spammer with very strong follow-ups to his blade block. It can very well be the most useful defensive tool in the game. Finally, we have heavy on red. Finally, we have heavy on red. I gotta finish this. Finally, we have heavy on red. They basically took Shigoki's old hyper armor and have given it to her. And then we have the knights, probably. I can't read this with a straight face. And then we have the knights, probably the most underpowered faction. PK is the only exception. She is S tier, but aside from her, none of the heroes are even B tier. I can't possibly imagine how or why Yubi keeps the samurai so high up and the knights in such a mediocre state. Shame on Yubi, nerf the samurai for fuck's sake. Man, I started that off and I believed that it was a serious comment until the second sentence. Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. I'm not going to address that one seriously. I'm pretty sure it was a troll. As always, if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and sub if you're new, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.